if symmetric is one key, Andy, what is asymmetric?
2 different keys.
Outstanding, sir. Very well done. Very well done. We're going to use a public key and a private key. What is a one-way function mathematically?
A non-reversible function.
Good. I like that. I would also accept it. It's a function that only works in one way. Yes, very good. Plain text goes in, ciphertext comes out, and not in the reverse. All right. This is a beautiful diagram. All right. Just similar to the last one, we're adding the other step. Instead of using the same key for encrypt and decrypt, we're using a different key. If it's a different key, how can it possibly decrypt the ciphertext back to the plain text?
Math.
What's that?
Math.
Math. It's magic.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you add the jazz hands. Yeah.
All right. Anyone got anything of a little more detail, a little more granularity than the math? These are related, aren't they? Yeah. The public key and the private key were generated with the same secret by the recipient. What's that? Say again?
They're a key pair.
Yeah, they're a key pair. They're related. Good. What is it good for? You can send confidential messages. On part of our triad, it provides confidentiality. If you use the public key of the recipient can decrypt it with the other member of that pair, their private key. Only they can do it, supposedly, because they're the only one that have that private key. You could send an open message when you're encrypting it with your private key. They can decrypt it with your public key. Who else can decrypt it? Well, you, yes. Yeah, oh yeah, you definitely could. You definitely could. Anyone with your public key, right? Is your public key a secret?
No.
No. By nature, it's meant to be distributed, right? It helps you create secure communication with other people. So anyone who has your public key can decrypt that message. That's why it's open and not confidential. Why would you want to do that? Why would you even bother encrypting it? Yeah. It proves that you sent it to them. And it proves that they had your public key to decrypt it if they could read it, right? Good. Confidential messages with proof of origin. The sender's going to encrypt it with their private key and the public key of the recipient. It gives us the best of both worlds. Again, it's showing that you sent it. How are they going to decrypt it? If you're encrypting it with your private key, how are they possibly going to decrypt it?
They're going to use your public key.
They're going to use your public key. Right. And their private key, right? Good. Look at those three fellas. Anybody know which one is which? Who's reversed? Who's Shamir and who's Edelman? No, nor do I. Okay, good.
They don't even know anymore.
They've become a hive mind. They've actually melded together. Large prime math, very sophisticated, tantamount to magic, right? Yes. Why are two large primes useful in encryption?
They're difficult to factor.
Very difficult to factor. They're not susceptible to mathematical attack, right? You have to know what those primes are in order to back out of that operation again. RSA can do encryption, key exchange, digital signatures. NIST is saying that by 2019, RSA might not be viable anymore. We might have the computing capacity to get to those factoring capabilities and be able to brute force it. What's a timing attack? We talked about brute force. We talked about mathematical. What's a timing attack? Andy?
I don't exactly know how to explain it in the terms of cryptography, but I use timing attacks in like SQL injection for blind SQL injections. So basically, you set it. But what you do is you set up basically a binary statement to where if it is successful, you have a delay. If it's not successful, there is no delay.
Excellent, excellent. The amount of time it takes to do the operation gives you some idea of what that operation is doing. Good, good. That right there is a heck of a lot more sophisticated than anything that I would be able to extrapolate any information from, but evidently that is part of the problem. Now, here's a fellow with plenty good hair on his head, and he still has the facial hair. Diffie-Hellman was created to allow for secure key exchange with a known unsecure medium. It became the basis for public key cryptography the way that we use it today. It generates that key pair, the public key and the private key, and we exchange the public ones. In this case, we're only going to use it for that session. Why? Why? Why do we have a session key? Why don't we use them repeatedly? What are we sending during that? What's that?
You're sending it over a non-secure medium, so until you have a medium secured, you discard that key and then...
Good, because you're transmitting a key. That's the thing you want to keep secret for an enduring period of time. You don't want, even if that is... let me put it another way. Gregory, what is the value of only using a key once?
Can't be broken.
Can't be broken, right? Because there's nothing to base it on. There's no repetition. It's not susceptible to mathematical attack. You're creating, for all intents and purposes, a one-time pad, right? For the transmission of a key that will be used for enduring communication. Good. El Gamal. Based off Diffie-Hellman, a modified version of it is used in the digital signature algorithm standard. Based on discrete logarithms in a finite field. Does anyone know what that means? Again, this is going to be the magic math concept, right? Yeah. I don't know what that means either. Logarithmic math is what? Using exponents, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. And you get that nice logarithmic curve? Yeah. Okay. And a finite field would be?
Finite.
Good. Thank you, Gregory. That was excellent. Very well done. Distinct from an infinite field. Good. Good, good, good. Yeah, so we're going to use a logarithmic curve in a finite area. Digital signatures and encryption. Elliptic curve. Different than the logarithmic curve. In what way?
Curves are elliptical.
Wow. You guys are good. I cannot get one by you. That's awesome. Yes. Yes. What's that based on often? Is that calculus versus logs?
Yes.
Yeah.
We use points on the graphs.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Excellent. They're fast and strong. You can use them in hardware, and they're used for both, for all three: digital signatures, encryption, and key management. Advantages and disadvantages. Because it's asymmetric, you can send it across untrusted medium. That was the way it was designed for Diffie-Hellman. It also gives you non-repudiation because, again, if you're signing it with a key that is known to only be accessed to you or to the recipient, that proves that it's either been sent or received by somebody who owned that key. Allows for access control. You're limiting who might have access to those keys if you keep your key secure. Data integrity. It gives you the opportunity, and we'll show that in a little while, gives you the opportunity to do checksums or hashes. It's slow. Why is it slow compared to symmetric?
It's not just using like a XOR, it's actually got some math behind it.
Yeah, you have to run that formula, right? The nice part about the exclusive OR is that it's just a real quick. It's a comparison. And you get long ciphertext. These are some comparisons as to key sizes or relative security. Hybrid. Guess what this does? Uses a... Go ahead, Joe.
That it combines both symmetric and asymmetric. Hybrid of the two.
Outstanding. You use the asymmetric portion to exchange the symmetric keys. That way you might not have to do it out of band. Is it still smart to do it out of band? If you can, sure. Yeah, good. Questions on the background to asymmetrics?